that perspective, how the forest can be used for the products that way, which was the biomass to be used for energy purposes. So maybe this gives you some kind of overview from one side, the other side also understanding how we have understood the bioenergy development well beyond that way here, which is probably very challenging and a long way to go. In this presentation, I'm trying to give you as an audit here. You are representing different nations, different countries, some figures also about what size we manage the forest in general, some quick numbers about the company or the organization. From where we started with this energy topic and the experiences we have learned, gained so far in the field, as well as what are the other related issues which we are faced with all the time, concerning, for example, the forest certification schemes and their impact on the collection of residuals and other things. So, and from my point of view, very interesting to see what are the price dynamics regarding the energy good and the short outlook or forecast what we would expect in the future. Yeah, the country itself is pretty much forested. After the Sweden, Finland, and Slovenia, Estonia to have the fourth biggest forest coverage in EU, slightly similar, or maybe even nowadays the same with Latvia. So we have the resource available, and in this territorial latitude we have basically forest first come out in the fields if the human is not interfering. So we see around the fields and lots of bushes growing and no activities, then it means just because the nature sees it in the first place develop. So the land itself has been distributed so that the forest comprises roughly half of the country. We do have much agricultural land still, and we not use it so much anymore. The rest of urban settlements, border areas, goes. Out of that half of this forest land, which is 2.2 million hectares, to divide this into three sectors or segments, you can see that roughly 37% today is belonging to state. We call this an ancient state forest area, which we, State Forest Management Center, manage. Another 48% belongs to private forest owners. Currently we are having about 65,000 individuals owning forests, meaning quite a small property, maybe 10 to 12 hectares per individual owner. It's too small to run forestry, but still a challenge for the owners also to look forward how to mobilize more wood out of it. And we do have still about 15% non-restituted forests, which government basically owns, or state owns, but which, as the land reform has not been completed yet, still is out of management. So there will be some scenarios. Part of it will have been made post-application to be added to state forests, so we could make complex massives in order to run forest management. There are also private forest owners looking forward to have part of that. The quality of these forests are not as good as the quality of those forests, otherwise which have been privatized or sold already during the last 10-15 years. So, not 15 years, but let's say 10 to 12 years. So therefore we still have quite a big reserve here. We need to know the resource more properly. We need to go with inventories first, as the data we have are about 25 years old, made during the Soviet time, so these are not valid anymore. We cannot rely on those. So therefore, we have a potential to grow more forest as well, to produce some forest residuals for energy purposes. And out of that segment or sector which state currently manages, another 78% is forest land, and we have much low bogs and wetland areas where we are not running any kind of forest management. Most of these areas are also situated in the protected nature protection areas and are having different kind of protection regimes. And but yeah, we are focusing on that, and this part of the pie again could be seen as distributed into 3 different type of management categories or forest categories. Daily operations we run on the commercial forests as well as partly in the protection forests. There are some restrictive measures. We could do some kind of cullings, for example, as well, which are needed to protect, to keep the protection regimes in certain quality level and proper level, but we do not interfere into protected forests. These are strictly protected forests. So put these two together, we have about 34% different kinds of protected forests, which is pretty high percentage. If you look at the whole country, including another half of private forests, this is not the same proportions. It's about 10% right now in Estonia. So meaning in private forests we have much less protected than in state forests. Private individual voluntarily set some kind of restrictions on his properties, but in state forests the state decides which are these values and should be taken under protection. And yes, the majority of the wood comes from state forests, comes from commercial forests, and the land area is about 520,000 hectares, which currently we manage as commercial forest. If you look at the distribution of most common tree species on forest land, then we have majority of pine, spruce, and birch, and less other deciduous growing in state forest. The difference in private forest could be seen only here. In private forest, less pine, roughly said 10% less pine, 10% more alder. So basically other sectors quite similar. Our organization is established already 11 years ago, but meanwhile there has been adopted a new Forest Act, and for us it meant that the form of organization remained the same, which is quite unique. There are no such type of organizations in Estonia like government profit-making institutions, which is something in between a public institution and the company. So we have certain specific law which stipulates what we should do. This is the Forest Act, and that says that basically we need to grow forest, take care of forest administration and management, as well as to provide free recreation possibilities for people like to go to the forest and to try to just to help people get well and learn more and focus on the training and different kind of programs related with forestry or the recreational issues. So to ask people to come to forest to show values and do it in an organized way. And these kind of free rights which we provide have been quite well accepted by the citizens, all the nature lovers for which we have prepared different resting areas, lodges, camping sites, parks, and etc. At the same time, we have been certified to have environmental management certificate as well as quality management. And already since 2001 we have Forest Stewards Council provided FSC certificate as well from last December, BEFC Forest Management certificate. These two are from one side are similar but also some kind of contradictional such goals could be seen. Therefore, this is a big challenge for us also to keep simultaneously both certificates. But the customers have been asking us to sell wood or to have available wood according to both of the schemes. We'll try to keep both right now. And earlier already I told you how big it is. Some facts about the average age of stands, 59 years. The total growing stock is 135 million cubic meters. Annually, we cut in state forest 2.8 million cubic meters, and the annual increment is about 3.5 million cubic meters. So it means that we do cut basically on the sustainable level, maximum level on the other side also, so that there are no reserves left, so that in order to increase cuttings we need to have more land or to grow plant forest into areas which currently are not under forest. So therefore this kind of stable food supply is possible to give if present conditions could prevail for future.